So it's too bad if they're at home watching this because you missed out on our activity. But today, we're going to talk about classifying quadrilaterals. There's 7 kinds of quadrilaterals. Can you help me name them? We just did it. What were they? Parallelogram, square, rhombus, rectangle, kite, trapezoid, isosceles trapezoid. Good. I'm going to give you a little definition about each one of them. Some of you have already taken notes out of the book on your own. That's good. You don't have to recopy this down, but follow along because once in a while I'll add things to it that you don't have, or I'll word it differently, and it might help you understand something, okay? But this is in my shorthand form, so I've abbreviated some things. In a parallelogram, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. That's the biggest thing. That's the definition. That's the foundation understanding of what a parallelogram is. Both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Anybody not done with parallelogram? Okay, I'm going to move this up to a rhombus and pause it for a minute, let you copy, then you can listen. You want me to whistle you a tune? A rhombus. All 4 sides are congruent. This is the tricky one. People will see a picture like this on the test. And it'll have these markings on it. And you'll tell me it's a square. Okay? Remember, you cannot assume measurements that you are not told. And so, in that picture that I just drew, anywhere in there, does it say the angles are 90 degrees? No, all that it says is what? The sides are all equal, right? That is a rhombus. Okay? So don't add to the picture with what you think it looks like. Only name it by what it has told you for sure. Okay? Like in a rectangle, all 4 angles are 90 degrees. Another time, here's another question that people continually get wrong. They'll have this picture, they'll have these here, and they'll say it's a square. Again, the only thing they told me is that, what? All 4 angles are 90 degrees. They did not tell me the 4 sides are all equal, did they? Just because they look to be equal, it looks to be a square. I'm sure if I got my tape measure out, I could measure it and prove it's a square, but what we're told, it's not. It's only a rectangle. All 4 angles are 90 degrees. Okay? So, questions like that on the quiz and on the test and on the homework, don't fall for them. You can only name it based on what they gave you, not what it looks like. Okay? A square, we just talked about, so they have to have all those markings on it to name it a square. Okay? Again, I'll pause. You can copy down kite and trapezoid. So in a kite, we just talked about 2 distinct pairs of adjacent sides are congruent, and opposite sides are not congruent. Okay? So these sides are opposite, so they're not going to be congruent. These sides are opposite, so they're not going to be congruent. Okay? Excuse me. Trapezoid has exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. Nothing special about the angles or the non-parallel sides. And then the isosceles trapezoid, the last one. So it's a trapezoid whose non-parallel sides are congruent. And as we talked about in our activity at great length, these base angles are going to be equal. I guess it's going to be true. That's a theorem we'll learn later, okay? So we won't plug those in right now, but it is going to be true. All right? Pause just for a moment. Okay, throughout this chapter, you're going to be asked to look at if lines are parallel, if they're perpendicular, if segments are equal in length. And so this is all review. Formulas you should already know, but yet we know that we sometimes forget. And so I want to make sure that you have them. How to find the slope. Remember, change of y's on top, change of x's on the bottom. Remember, parallel lines have the same slope. And perpendicular lines flip the slope and change the sign. Remember that flippy switchy thing? So if the slope of a line is 3/5, what's the slope of the perpendicular to that line? I'm sorry, negative 3/5.
5/3.
Yeah, it's a positive, and and flip it over is 5/3. So flip it, switch it, means flip the fraction, switch the sign, right? If our slope is 5, what's our perpendicular slope going to be? Negative 1/5, good. So those are how we find perpendicular slopes. Okay? Am I going too fast for anybody? No. Distance formula. We're not going to practice that. We've done that a lot between the last couple of years. Yeah. What's that? Okay. I asked if I was going too fast. Nobody said anything. Okay. Is that high enough? Okay, let me pause. You can copy it down. Now this fun-looking thing is called a quadrilateral hierarchy. Now I want you to understand quadrilaterals are broken into 3 types. No parallel lines, 1 pair of parallel lines, and 2 pairs of parallel lines. Okay? The only quadrilateral that has no parallel lines are the kites. The only one that has 1 pair of parallel lines are the trapezoids. But then we have a special kind of trapezoid in which the non-parallel sides are congruent. And then parallelograms have 2 pairs of parallel lines and they break off into 2. Rectangles and rhombuses. If we took a rectangle in this hand and a rhombus this hand and smashed them together, we get a square. Okay? Couple examples here. What's the picture on the left?
A rectangle.
Your other left.
Rhombus.
The rhombus. What's the picture on the right?
A rectangle.
A rectangle.
But actually,
Remember, excuse me, we don't know what these angles are, so we cannot assume that this is a square. We do not know how long these sides are, so we cannot assume it's a square. This is a rectangle. This is a rhombus.
Got it.
Okay?
Thank you.
This is a kite. How would I solve for x?
Those two
sub AB equals CB.
There you go. These 2 sides are equal, so these 2 have to be equal.
Right.
So 6x minus 20 is going to equal 4x minus 8. And how do I solve for y?
Same exact thing but the bottom 2.
Okay, since it's a kite, these 2 are equal. So this is equal to this, and I solved that. Now listen, sometimes they may have an x and a y in both of them. And so you have to solve the system. Yeah, remember in algebra, like chapter 5, you had to solve systems, okay? So you take it back and solve that system. All right? Does anybody want me to solve that for them?
No. Not really.
Remember when I asked that question? When I ask that question, I want only those who want help to answer. If it's dead silent, then I'll know that nobody wants help. So just real quickly, if we subtract 4x from both sides, 6x minus 4x is 2x minus 20. Drop everything else down.
Add 20.
So undo the minus 20, we're going to add 20. So 2x is equal to 12.
Six.
Divide. X is equal to 6. Okay?
Right.
And here I'm going to subtract 4y from both sides. So what's 7y minus 4y? 3y plus 15 equals 27, was it? Subtract 15. So 3y is equal to 12.
4. Y equals 4 and X equals 6.
Throwing a 4 in there, I almost wrote the wrong number down. Y is 4 and X is 6, okay?
Yes.
It's not an ordered pair, we're not plotting them, they just ask us to find the variable,
Okay.
okay? All right, let me pause that. No, let me do this. This is your assignment, but again, see on Wednesday, half day in class review, that's just a get caught up day. If we're all caught up, then I'll have some things we can do to review. There'll be no new homework on Wednesday, all right?
Ready for mess?